Pfl Mena number 3 this Friday from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. We've got 9 fights on this PFL card. The only MMA event this weekend. We do have the Contender series, and I am going to go over that during today's video. Usually, again, I do that during UFC, but no UFC this week, so we'll do Contender series in just a few moments here. But we've got PFL Mena 3 in Saudi Arabia, main evented by Abdullah Al-Qahtani, and he'll be taking on Alhyasat. I think I'm getting that right. No, I'm definitely not. I'll real quick give a quick disclaimer about PFL Mena. Again, I try to do my best with these PFL Mena cards. Again, I am not, an expert at Saudi Arabian MMA. I'm starting to get a really good idea of a lot of these guys because most of these guys at this point have fought in the PFL. But unlike, some American promotions, some American regionals like Fury and Cage Fury and LFA, I'm not too, I'm not the best with UAE Warriors. Like, we're going to go over the Contender series in a second, and I've heard of most of those guys prior to them actually being on the Contender. Some of these guys on PFL Mena, I'm not, I'm not too accustomed to prior to these cards, but again, a lot of these guys have been fighting on the PFL Mena cards for the first 2, so I am starting to pick up on things with some of these fighters. And folks, if you haven't yet, though, make sure that subscribe button down below for some more MMA here on the channel. Next week, again, we'll be back with UFC. I believe PFL Europe's got a card next week as well. And before we get into the PFL card, let's go to the Contender series. And here we go. This is not the Contender series. This is it right here. We start things off with Dylan Mantello and Ahman Hanzada. I probably butchered that. You've got Ahmed, who's fighting from Team Alpha Male, or out of Team Alpha Male in Sacramento, California. Of course, Uriah Favor's gym. And then you got Longo Weidman's own and Dylan Mantello. I'm going to take Ahmad Hanzada. I probably butchered that, to win the fight. We're going to take him to win this fight by submission in the second round. I think he's the better grappler. Both these guys have fought on the Contender series before. For Mantello, he got submitted by Kanyan Krushny. I think I always butcher that guy's name, but that's who he got submitted by. And for Ahmad, he lost to Sadikov, I do believe, right? Nazim Sadikov? Yes, he lost to Nazim Zadikov by first round knockout, I do believe. Again, I think Mantello has a very easy weakness on the ground to exploit. I think that's where the lion of the ring in the Afghanistan zone, Ahmad Hanzada, is going to win this fight. Again, I think he's going to exploit the grappling game. Some of these Longo Weidman guys aren't the greatest if you're not named Aljamain Sterling or Merab Dvalishvili. Shout out to Merab for winning the belt. So I'm going to take Ahmad to win the fight. I got him to win this one by second round sub. Next up, we got Yura Naito taking on Atiba Gattu. I probably butchered his name. You have the Japanese fighter taking on the Cameroonian. This is weird because both these guys are just can crushers. There's no other way to put it. Naito has beat nobody of note. He's coming off a win over like a 6-6 guy. Gattu he beat a 17-13-1 guy in a regional in Africa. I don't know what to make of this fight. It's going to be whoever hits harder. I am going to go with Atiba Gattu to win the fight by first round knockout. The thing is, this is where I'm going to differentiate these two guys. Naito definitely has had the possibility and the potential of fighting well-known guys, or at least, decent guys in the regionals. There's a chance for Gattu fighting out of Cameroon and fighting in Cameroon. He hasn't really just been afforded the opportunity to take on, a very high-skilled regional guy, and that's not necessarily his fault or his management's fault. For Naito, I'm sure, again, if he's still fighting cans at this point of his career, up until the point he's getting into the Contender series, he's definitely been given the opportunity to fight better guys. He just hasn't taken it. I don't think Gattu I'm probably butchering his name, but the Cameroonian fighter here, I don't think I doubt he's been given the opportunity to fight better guys, because again, these Cameroonian regionals or these African regionals are just not that good. So I'm going to take the Cameroonian to win the fight by first round knockout. I think he's able to go out there and land first against Yura Naito. Next up, we got Benjamin Bennett and Joey Hart. I'm going to be going with the underdog here in Benjamin Bennett. I like him to win this fight by decision. Joey Hart hits very hard. Don't get me wrong. He's coming off a flying knee knockout in his last fight. However, he hasn't fought anybody all that great. Benjamin Bennett is 6-1. His only loss is Archie Colgan? No, it's Trey Waters. Someone's fought Archie Colgan on this card. Who, I forget. Wait, did Joey Hart fight? No, he didn't have to fight. Who fought Archie Colgan? Somebody fought Archie Colgan on this card. I might be coming up to it later. But anyways, Joey Hart's, lost to an 0-1 guy, given that was 5 fights ago. And Joey Hart is still very new to the sport. He's only been fighting in MMA for about a year and a half. But with that being said, I like the experience of Benjamin Bennett. And again, they've had the same amount of fights, but Bennett has just been around the game for a longer period of time. Again, his only losses to a UFC name in Trey Waters. I think Bennett's able to go out there and out-condition and outpace Joey Hart in this fight. He trains out of Team Elevation over there in Denver, Colorado. Again, I think he's able to put a pace in this fight, and I think Benjamin Bennett, Mr. Alaska, is able to win this one by decision. The biggest favorite on this card, Talson Teixeira taking on Arthur Lopez. We're going to go with Talison Teixeira to win the fight by first round knockout. I mean, that's kind of what's expected here. This guy is huge. He's 6'8". He's got an 81-inch reach. He is a massive heavyweight. He better win this fight. For Arthur Lopez, he's been fighting in regionals in Brazil, hasn't beaten anybody. For Teixeira, he's undefeated coming off of back-to-back wins in LFA. This guy is meant for the UFC. He is kind of like a Hanan Fajeda type build, but just a little bit bigger, I would say. Give me Teixeira to win the fight, like size-wise bigger. I think Fajeda might be the same height. But I think like, weight-wise, Teixeira's a little bit bigger. I'm taking Talison Teixeira to win the fight by first-round knockout. If he's able to keep his distance, he's going to be able to knock this guy out. Give me Teixeira by first-round knockout. As we go on to our final fight, Aaron Tao taking on Elijah Smith. I'm going to go with Elijah Smith to win the fight. He's the underdog in Tapology, but on the betting odds, he is the favorite. I'm going to go with him. I'm going to go with Elijah Smith to win this fight. He's coming off a win in Fury FC in his last fight 2 months ago. This guy's got power. So does Aaron Tao. But again, I don't think Tao has fought the best of competition over in New Zealand or in Australia. I like what Smith has been able to do in these American regionals, and I just think he's the better striker, and I think he's going to land the first big shot first. I think it's going to be a fun back-and-forth fight, but I think eventually Elijah Smith will get the better of Aaron Tao. Give me Elijah Smith to win the fight by second round TKO. All right, let's move on now to PFL Mena. We start things off with Adam Miskini taking on Yazid Hasnain. I'm going to go with Miskini to win the fight. Now, he's 8-3. Hasnain is 3-1. That's why, again, I'm going to go with Miskini to win the fight. He's had just more activity, and he did lose his first fight in PFL Mena to Islam Reda. Lost the fight by unanimous decision. He has a win over Jalal Al-Daja back in 2022 in UAE Warriors. That's the name you're going to hear around the PFL Mena card. And for Hasnain, he fought Abdullah Al-Qahtani on the first ever main event of PFL Mena and lost in the second round by TKO. It was a standing TKO. He verbally said, "I'm done with this fight." I don't know really how to gauge that one because Al-Qahtani is obviously the guy for PFL Mena. He's back in the main event again tonight, or on this card. I think Miskini is just better. Again, Hasnain kind of feels like a little bit of just, someone who's going out there to get killed. I think Miskini's better. I think he's got better striking. Hasnain did not impress me at all in his one fight. Again, prior to that, 3 wins, but none of them against anybody of note. I'm going to take the French fighter here and Adam Miskini to win the fight by unanimous decision. Again, yes, he did lose to Islam Reda in his first fight, but Reda's 10-1 in his own right. I don't think that's a horrible loss. I just don't think Hasnain's very good. Give me Miskini to win the fight by unanimous decision. To our next one, we go on to the lightweight division. Georges Eid taking on Omar. We're going to be taking Omar to win the fight. I'm taking the Tunisian to win this one. He's 4-0, taking on a 9-4 guy. And I guess, is PFL doing a tournament for PFL Mena? I don't know. I guess they are. I think the 2 winners of the 155 fights are fighting each other. The 2 winners of the 170 fights are fighting each other, and then 145 and 135 as well. So the winner of this fight should be taking on Ali Taleb and Jalal Al-Daja, and we're going to get to that fight later. But I'm taking Omar to win this fight by second round TKO. Georges Eid has been around. He fought Abbas Khan on the PFL Mena 2 card. He won by unanimous decision. He did fight Lazy King, I do believe, right? He fought Lazy King back a couple years ago. It was a no contest, illegal shots to the back of the head. Again, Georges Eid is 9-4 as a whole. He has lost 2 out of his last 4, but at the same time, he's won back-to-back fights. But against a 5-5-2 guy, and then Abbas Khan, who's 6-2. He's taking on Omar, who is coming off of a no contest in his last fight. It was originally got submitted, I believe, in that fight. Right, he got submitted by triangle choke in that fight to Abdullah Salim. I don't know. Again, this could go either way. Actually, as I'm looking at this, I'm going to switch the pick to Georges Eid, actually. I'm going to take Eid to win the fight by unanimous decision. I'm going to switch this. As I'm just looking over this, I think Eid is much better. So disregard what I have on the screen right now. I'm not going to lie. I forgot that Omar lost that fight to Abdullah Salim. I thought it was a no contest overturned the wrong way. No, he got submitted in that fight in 90 seconds. Give me Georges Eid to win this fight. As I'm looking at, again, Omar has fought no He's not beat a fighter with a winning record so far in his career. He's beaten 3 guys who are 0-0, then beat a 5-7 guy, then lost to Abdullah Salim. It's a no contest because Salim had a failed drug test in that fight, but regardless, it was a 90-second submission loss. I'm taking Georges Eid to win this fight. He's got the experience. He's a TriStar Lebanon guy. I think Eid wins the fight. I'm going to switch the pick right now. I think he's able to survive the early onslaught of Omar in this one, and give me Georges Eid to win this fight by unanimous decision. Let's go on to our next one now. We go on to the 135-pound division. Rachid Haas takes on Elias Smile. I don't know what his last name. I'm not going to try pronouncing his last name. This one I feel like is pretty obvious. Rachid Haas is way better. This is a 14-3 fighter who won on the first PFL Mena card by rear naked choke in the second round. He fought in PFL Europe, lost to Franz Malabo, who ended up being the runner-up in the 135-pound division last year in PFL Europe. Ended up losing that fight to Malabo by majority decision. Fought Yanis Gamori back in 2021 in UAE Warriors Saudi Arabia, lost the fight by split decision. But as a whole, Rachid Haas, I think, is one of the better guys that PFL Mena does have, especially in this division, too. The winner of this fight is going to be fighting the winner of Ali Taleb and Jalal Al-Daja. The winner of the George Eid fight will be fighting the winner of Sulul Tardi and Mohsen Mohammed Sefi. I'm probably butchering these names. I apologize. But I'm taking Rachid Haas to win this fight. He's taking on a 19-8 guy, a guy that did beat Hassan Mandour in his first PFL Mena fight by guillotine choke in the second round. But again, for Elias, he's just lost a lot. He's 19-8. He has never been submitted. Again, he's a big, jiu-jitsu guy, and Rachid Haas is that as well. But on the feet, I do think Haas has the advantage. I just think he's better up there. Elias leaves a lot to be desired on the feet. Again, primarily just a grappler. I think if Haas is able to go out there and outstrike him, he should be able to win. And that's why I'm taking Rachid Haas to advance to the PFL Mena, bantamweight 4-man tournament championship. I'm taking Haas to win the fight by unanimous decision. To our next one, we go on to now the 145-pound division. We've got Islam Reda taking on Maroun Belghut. Again, probably butchered that. But in this fight, we are going to be going with Islam Reda to win. We think he takes the O of the Moroccan in Maroun Belghut. Again, for Islam Reda, he's 11-1, only lost once in his entire career. And that's a loss all the way back in 2018 to Abdullah Al-Qahtani, who, of course, is going to be in the main event of this card. Coming off that win over Adam Miskini by unanimous decision on the first PFL Mena card, I think Reda is the better fighter. Again, he is a very good grappler. I think he's able to get Belghut down in this fight. And Maroun Belghut, a lot of knockouts coming off a Mito Mohammed third round knockout victory. That's really all he does. If you look at his record again on UAE Warriors, a bunch of knockout victories. And that's where I think Islam Reda is able to win this fight. He's nicknamed the Egyptian Zombie. So that's, it is what it is on that end. But I do think Reda, again, is able to walk through some of these punches. He's able to get this fight down. And I think he's able to find a way to just control the fight once the fight is hit the mat. Again, Belghut is just primarily a striker. If Reda is able to get him out that first round, he should be able to win. And yes, again, Belghut is coming off a third round knockout victory, but other than that, all of his stuff is pretty much won in the first round. I'm going to be taking Islam Reda to go out here and pick up the win in a 15-minute decision. I think he's able to go out there again, use his grappling effectively, get the fight at the ground, and Reda, the Egyptian Zombie, should be able to win the fight by unanimous decision. To our next one, Ali Taleb. Again, one of the bigger stars, I would say, on PFL Mena. There's a reason he's fighting the 11-8 Jalal Al-Daja in this fight. And a Jalal Al-Daja who's lost back-to-back fights. A Tariq Ismail lost by unanimous decision. So Al-Daja loses the fight, but because Tariq Ismail missed weight, then it gets switched to Al-Daja advancing in the tournament because they had the point deduction. I do believe that's how that works, right? So Al-Daja's coming off a loss, but technically because Ismail missed weight, he advances. Okay, so it is what it is. Because Ali Taleb should be able to win this fight. Again, he is probably the best guy that PFL Mena has. I would even say maybe better than Al-Qahtani and Hussein Al-Sawali later on this card. Just Ali Taleb's only loss is Khurshid Kaharov, who ended up winning PFL Europe last year, right? Taleb is 10-1 as a professional. He's got a TKO victory over Vinicius Oliveira. And if you know Vinicius Oliveira, this guy is 2-0 in the UFC, a win over Bernardo Sopaj in his first fight, and then beat Ricky Simone on International Fight Week at UFC 303. And yeah, Ali Taleb beat him for the UAE Warriors Championship and knocked him out in the third round. Ali Taleb's pretty good. Again, I know that was Vinicius Oliveira in 2022, but Oliveira, again, is a 2-0 guy in the UFC who is likely a win away from being ranked in the UFC's bantamweight division, and Ali Taleb beat him for the UAE Warriors Championship. Then after that, again, Taleb went to PFL, won back-to-back fights, ran to Khaharov, lost by decision, and then is coming off a win in the last PFL Mena card. He will easily beat Jalal Al-Daja in this fight. It's not going to be close. Ali Taleb wins it by first round any way he wants it. Again, Al-Daja has lost 8 times in his career. He's been submitted 3 times. He's been knocked out 3 times. He's lost by decision twice. Again, whatever way Ali Taleb wants this fight, he will have it, and he will win this fight fairly easily too. Al-Daja is a can, let's just be honest. Again, he's 37 years old. He's 11-8, and he's fighting the best guy PFL Mena has. This one is pretty obvious. Ali Taleb, again, I feel like should be fighting back in PFL Europe, but it's fine. They want him on PFL Mena. Taleb wins this fight, and he wins it very easily. Give me Taleb to win the fight by first round knockout. To our next fight, we go on to the lightweight division. We've got Sulul Tari taking on Mohsen Mohamed Sefi. I think I got that right. We're going to be going with Mohamed Sefi, who has won 5 in a row fighting out of Iran. He is 35 years old, but again, he is on a 5-fight winning streak after dropping his first 2 professional mixed martial arts fights, and one of them is to a UFC name in Rongju, who is coming off a loss to Chris Padilla in his last fight. I want to say that I got that one right. Padilla is a plus 220 dog. I got that one right. Anyways, Mohamed Sefi is coming off a Josh Togo victory where he knocked him out in the first round of the second PFL Mena card. He's taking on Sulul Tari, who's fighting out of France. Is 1-0 in the PFL as well. He beat Ahmad Amir in his last fight by unanimous decision. Interesting again because Tari is 6-4 and was 6-4-1 going into that fight. And he ends up winning it, and here he is again back on PFL Mena. He has a loss to Muhammad Yahya back in 2023. Yahya, a UFC name, kind of. He's horrible, but it is what it is. Yahya beat him by unanimous decision for the UAE Warriors Lightweight Championship. And again, I get it. Yahya's in the UFC, but like, look how bad Yahya has been in the UFC compared to, again, Tari losing to him. I don't know. Again, Yahya has been fighting good guys. Trevor Peek, Kyle Fernandez, but like still, Yahya won that 5-round main event, by unanimous decision. Tari's now taking on Mohamed Sefi. I think Mohamed Sefi wins this fight again. He's on a 5-fight winning streak. 4 out of those 5 wins are by knockout. I think he gets it done again in this fight. I think he goes out here and gets the knockout against Sulul Tari. Give me Mohsen Mohamed Sefi to win the fight by first round knockout in the lightweight division. To our next one, we go now to the 170-pound division, the welterweight division, and we have got AK's own fighting out of San Jose, California. We are talking about Muhammad Al-Qahtani taking on Badrine Dayani. Give me Muhammad Al-Qahtani to win this fight. I don't think this is too hot of a take. I'm taking Al-Qahtani to win it by unanimous decision. He's been very good, of course. He's an AKA guy. He won his last fight in PFL Mena by 3rd round TKO. He's undefeated in UAE Warriors. He's undefeated as a professional. Al-Qahtani is one of the guys here on PFL Mena. He's only 24 years old, and he's, again, a very good up-and-coming guy that the PFL does have, at least in this, small promotion. For Dayani, he's coming off a unanimous decision victory on PFL Mena 2, where he beat Amir Fazli by unanimous decision. He's been the UAE Warriors champion before in the past. I believe twice he's won the UAE Warriors championship. But again, Muhammad Al-Qahtani is an up-and-coming prospect the PFL does have. I would expect him to win this fight, and I would expect him to win this fight pretty decisively. Dayani's been cracked multiple times in his career on the feet. I think Al-Qahtani, again, will be able to win this striking battle, and I think, again, this fight will go the distance. But I do like Al-Qahtani to go out there and outstrike Dayani for 15 minutes and pick up the victory. So give me Al-Qahtani to remain undefeated. He's 6-0 going into this fight. He will stay undefeated with a unanimous decision victory over Dayani here in our featured bout. Let's go on to the co-main event. Gerard Hussein Al-Suali taking on Omar El-Dafri in the 170-pound division. Give me Al-Suali to win the fight. Again, this one feels kind of obvious. Omar is 1-0 in the PFL. He's coming off a victory over Anthony Zidane by unanimous decision. That's all fun and games, but again, Gerard Hussein Al-Suali is just much better. He just is. El-Dafri is coming on, also has a loss back in 2023 to Muhammad Al-Qahtani, who we just talked about. But Al-Suali, again, he's 20-6. I understand he went on a 3-fight losing streak, but look at the guys he lost to. Magomed Umlatov, Sadibou C, who ended up winning that season, and Solomon Renfro, right? Those aren't bad guys. Actually, C won 2022. right? Yes, he won in 2022, not 2023, but still. Again, those aren't bad losses, right? Umlatov, is a very good PFL fighter. Sadabusi, former champion. Salman Renfro is a decent PFL fighter as well. Also, Wali's coming off a first-round submission victory in PFL Mena 2, as expected. Again, also Wali's going to beat a lot of these guys. And it's not against, anything that PFL Mena has in these, sort of regional guys. But the Lazy King, right? His one loss is to Gerard Hussein Al-Sawali. Al-Sawali won their rematch for the Brave Championship by doctor stoppage at the end of the 4th round, right? That's, again, this is this guy here in Al-Sawali, right? And he might not be the best in terms of, the global or the American side of the PFL season, which is fine because, again, he's taken on really good guys. Also, while he has been fighting for a while, he's 32 years old. Again, I'm not saying he's, past his prime, but he's just been in a lot of wars with a lot of good fighters like the Lazy King in back-to-back fights for the Brave CF championship. But, he should dust up a lot of these guys in PFL Mena just because, again, they're just not on his level. So while he's so much better, he's been fighting again. I'm not trying to put over America too much, but he's been fighting again the PFL America guys who are just better. Let's just be honest. This is more of a regional promotion than a world-class fighting championship kind of like PFL is, right? Like, whoever the PFL Mena champion is, this isn't a world championship we're fighting for. This is more of a regional championship. And also, Wally should be able to beat a lot of these guys just because, again, he's been fighting in, the PFL against Umlatov, against Renfro. And again, he hasn't won those fights, but still. Also, Wally is the much better striker. He should go out here and knock out Omar Al-Dafri. If he doesn't, it'll be by decision. Either way you look at it, I'm going to take Al-Sawali by decision. I think he gets it there. I just think he's a better striker on the feet, obviously. I don't know how much punching power Al-Sawali still has. I think he wins it by decision. That's a safe pick. I think he just goes out there and now strikes Omar for 15 minutes. And again, this is one of the easier ones to pick on the card. The easiest one to pick on the card, it might be this main event. Abdullah Al-Qahtani taking on Abdulrahman Alhyasat. Maybe I got that one. The 4-0 Jordan fighter here in Alhyasat is 1-0 in the PFL, beat Ahmed Tarak in his first fight in the PFL. He's taken on, though, a guy who has main evented for PFL Mena before, and a guy who is definitely one of the stars of this promotion, in Abdullah Al-Qahtani. He's on the posters. They put him on the PFL versus Bellator card. He won that. He won a fight over there against Adukala Rao, won on the PFL regular season twice against Lamar Brown and David Zellner. This is a guy, again, that the PFL wants to promote. He is he's the guy in PFL Mena. If it's not Al-Sawali, it's Abdullah Al-Qahtani, and Al-Qahtani will have his way in this fight. Al-Qahtani is going to take it by 2nd round TKO. He's taking on pretty much a really green guy here in Alhyasat. Al-Qahtani is a very decent kickboxer, and his kickboxing, again, is just on a different level than some of these regional guys. Not to say, again, Al-Qahtani's had the experience like a guy like Al-Sawali has had, like we just talked about, but, again, Al-Qahtani should be able to out-kickbox a lot of these guys in PFL Mena. He is their promotional guy. He's the guy that they want to push, and they are going to give him somewhat favorable matchups until the final fight. And this is, again, is a favorable matchup for him. A guy who has never finished anybody in his professional career is Alhyasat. He's won 4 fights by decision. His striking's all right, but again, Al-Qahtani will be able to beat him to the punch. He will have more power than him, and Al-Qahtani will win this fight fairly easily, kind of like he did in his first fight in the PFL a couple months ago, right? Again, this is a guy in Al-Qahtani who's been fighting not just on PFL Mena, but in the PFL and PFL versus the PFL Bellator card in Saudi Arabia, but also in the States in the PFL as well. This is a pretty easy pick to make. Give me Abdullah Al-Qahtani, the guy who's already 4-0 in the PFL, to win this one. There's a reason he's in the main event as well. It's because he's from Saudi Arabia. He's the local guy. But they're not having a local guy lose in the main event. They're going to give him a somewhat favorable matchup, and they did, giving him a guy who's only fought 4 times and never finished anybody. So give me Abdullah Al-Qahtani to win the fight by 2nd round TKO. Him and also Ali will win back-to-back to close out the card, the 2 stars, I would say, of this PFL Mena promotion. So, folks, thank you all for watching our PFL Mena 3 predictions here on the channel. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you have not yet. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back next week for UFC Paris, France, Benoit Saint-Denis and Renato Moicano in the main event, as well as, I believe, PFL Europe as well. I think Stevie Ray is headlining that card next week. So stay on the lookout for that, folks. Thank you all for watching. Make sure that subscribe button down below for more. And Mamba forever.